Some time ago, during our back to school month, we focused in. There's one thing we have not focused in on. We may have focused on it, but focused on the school drills, not the studying ones that drill your brain. No, we're talking about the school safety drills, like the fire drill, the lockdown drill. We're gonna try to focus in. We're gonna try to focus in on all of these tonight, so that you can get a better understanding by looking at the do's and don'ts of the fire drill. This clip seemed to brought my attention. We're going to use that clip with some common sense, the do's and don'ts. Take a look. This is the wrong way. Now, before we raise our common sense alert, here's a pop quiz. Here's a quiz for you. If you're watching this, there's a quiz at the end of this video. If you see a fire drill, if you hear the fire alarm going off, do you A, sit down, do nothing, B, run like a maniac, or C, line up at the door and walk in a single file line to the exit? If you answered C, you're correct. If you answered A, you're a dumbass. Apparently nobody understands common sense. So here's the common sense alert. Here's a common sense alert.
There's nothing more powerful than you making your thing happen. Doing business on your terms.
You never leave the room, you never run out of the room, act like a freaking maniac. You never do that. And you never sit there all alone in the room and think that no one forgot you. And you want to sit there and do nothing, and like all the class left, you want to sit there and do nothing. No. The fire safety drill is a purpose to make sure that you know what you're doing. You should all line up in a single file line. Teacher should be at front, and the last person should close the door. Now, here's a short YouTube clip. Now in that clip, the students should have just walked away in a single file line. The teacher should have been in front. That's what should have happened. You don't ignore a fire alarm drill. And you never ever want to pull down the fire alarm. Even though it may be a joke. That's why I'm saying you never ever want to pull down the fire alarm as an April Fool's joke. If you do so, you may get in trouble. We'll have that for you when we come back. Then still ahead, the lockdown drills, the school shooting drills. It's all about the school safety drills when the first day of school comes and you need to know how to be safe in our schools. So stay with us. We'll be right back. If you just joined us, we're talking about school drills, the school safety drills. The next time you hear a fire alarm drill, think, what should I do? This is what you should do. And you never ever want to pull down a fire alarm. Here's an example from 4 years ago from Go Animate's Caillou.
Wait.
And I believe the video could give us all a lesson here on pulling down the fire alarm. Take a look.
Is April Fool's Day. I am going to pull down the fire alarm switch since there is no fire.
It's the fire alarm that goes off. Get in line, please. Single file.
The good news is that there is no fire around this premises. The bad news is that someone allegedly pulled down the fire alarm switch. Do you know anyone who could have done such a thing?
I know who did this. It was Caillou.
Caillou, get over here right now.
Yes, teacher.
The fire alarm went off. Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Why would you do that?
Ha 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 ha. Happy April Fool's Day.
Caillou, this is not very funny. We take fire alarms seriously. In that case, I am calling your parents. You are suspended from school. Hello? Is this Caillou's parents speaking? It's your son, Caillou, who allegedly pulled down the fire alarm switch just for April Fool's Day. I am suspending him right now. Can you come pick him up? Thank you. I appreciate that. Bye. They're on their way now.
Caillou, we can't believe you got suspended from school for pulling down the fire alarm switch. Why would you do that?
Because it's April Fool's Day. I thought it was a prank. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad.
It was not a very funny prank. When the fire alarms go off, we have to take them seriously. Your apology is unacceptable. You are grounded for a month.
Go to your room now, Caillou, and think about what you just did to the school and the fire department.
And like people say, you should never pull down the fire alarm because it's April Fool's Day. It's not a joke. When the fire alarm goes off, we have to take it very seriously. Yeah, if you ever seen the episode of The Office, it happens in all workplaces. Like if you've seen an episode of The Office, then you'll know what I'm talking about here. Everybody should know the fire drills, the emergency exits, the front door, etc. When that fire alarm goes off, we have to take this very seriously. And that is something that common sense should tell us. When the fire alarm goes off, we have to take it very seriously, and we should never use it as an April Fool's joke. just because it's April Fool's Day does not mean you get to pull a prank at your school by pulling down the fire alarm. If you see a fire, then you pull down the alarm. If you don't, you think it's a joke to pull down a fire alarm because your friends thought it was funny, well, don't ever trust your friends. Like, you may say to them, hey, you should pull down if your friends say to you, hey, you should pull down a fire alarm as an April Fool's joke, and they tell you I shouldn't do that because I want to get in trouble. Like, no, you won't. Yeah, I will. You want bed scared a cat? And you pull down a fire alarm, again, you run and go hide in a trash can. You'll never get caught. But cameras can pick up the person who did this. So you caught on camera pulling down that fire alarm. And there's also clips of people who pulled down the fire alarm switch. So here's a clip from its stardom.
Yes, hello? Hey, Dad! I need your advice. What happened? Okay, so today we were supposed to have a grammar test, but as you know, I don't like writing. So to avoid it, I pulled the fire alarm. And so the whole school is now outside. And I also noticed that there is 3 fire trucks and 10 police officers all looking for the suspect, which is me. What should I do, Dad? I know I should have used the condom.
If you're the one that pulled down the fire alarm, what should you do? You need to stand. Here's what you should do. You need to stand up, face the officer, and say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. It was me. I pulled down a fire alarm. We had a test. I didn't feel like running, so I pulled the fire alarm switch. I'm very sorry. And they will give you the same lecture. We take fire alarms very seriously. We take fire drills very seriously. It is not a joke. In my years of going to school, I have never, ever pulled down the fire alarm switch. I never have. But if I did, I'd regret it. I'd be sitting in school suspension saying to myself, I should not have pulled that fire alarm, but I told the truth. You tell the truth, and you may get even a harsher consequence. That's the truth is the key. If you tell the truth, you're not telling a lie. But the truth, but like Randy Travis said, the song says, the truth is lying next to you. That's the truth. And it's also the dumbest thing ever. It's not a prank. It's not a joke. If it was a joke, it's not a joke. Fire alarms should take it very seriously along with lockdown drills. Come up next, we're going to explain to you the lockdown drills, the do's and don'ts, and what you need to do. That's all part of the school shooting drills, which we're going to talk about. So stay with us. Now that we focused on the fire drills, the do's and don'ts, and why you shouldn't be holding out a fire alarm, let's talk about the lockdown drills. Now, I couldn't find a good video about lockdown drills. The first one I couldn't find, so I'm going to explain to you because I know the lockdown drill a lot. So I really know how to do this. I've been at school for years, and I know the lockdown drill. Here's what you do. If you hear an announcement with PA saying, attention students, we're having a lockdown. Lock all doors, no talking, so etc. Here's what you do. You go to a corner let's say this is the corner. So this right here, let's say this right here would be the corner. Then you would sit on the floor. Then what you would do is you would sit on the floor like this. I know y'all probably can't see me here, so y'all got to bear with me here. Then what you would do, you put your hand, your hand will go over your head, and then you would lie down like this, like you're about to do a dodge roll. You do like this all day until that says lockdown's clear. All doors should be locked, and sometimes for active shooter drills, what would happen is they would have to like lock all the windows. And you have to stay as silent as possible. These drills happen like once a month. Fire drill happens like once a month. Lockdown drills happen like 2 months. I may have gotten it wrong, but I may have to ask. Because I know fire drills happen like once a month or 2 months, depending on when it is, so. Maybe what it is. Now, lockout. This is something we never talked about before. The difference between lockdown is the school's on lockdown, no one's allowed to come in. Lockout is when school's still in session, but no visitors are allowed. So if you were to order pizza and you are still on a lockout, and the delivery guy comes in with some pizza, it's like, you can't come in because we're still on lockout. That basically means that all visitors are prohibited from coming in during the lockout, while they're still looking for whoever. That's just a short thing of a lock. So that's lockdown and lockout, the difference between the two. That's the second drill. Thirdly, the bus evacuation drill. Here's a clip talking about the bus evacuation drill, what bus drivers should and what students should do. Watch.
Dispatch, this is Luke, bus 125. Driving, I've got a lot of smoke in the cab. You gotta be pulling over, we're gonna be doing a bus evacuation. Cover your mouths, guys. Be pulling over. Alright. Students, we're going to do a bus evacuation. Let's go ahead and get going, okay? Everybody stay calm. You guys know what to do. Here's the bus.
School buses are one of the most widely used vehicles in the world. Certain types of school buses can carry over 80 passengers. When they are being assembled, safety features are the top priority for school bus manufacturers. Keep in mind that school bus drivers go through a rigorous training process, and their passengers are you, one of over 26 million kids that ride the school bus on a daily basis. I'm sure if I could see your faces, they would look super excited. Don't worry, we're going to keep this video short and sweet. We understand that you have schoolwork, Fortnite games, and TikTok videos to watch. But at the same time, we understand the importance of teaching all students about safety tips that can ultimately save your life, or the life of a fellow student. I know, it may sound a bit dramatic. However, just bear with us, because the information you learn in this video can make all the difference in the world. And if you haven't guessed yet, the video is going to cover school bus evacuations. The thought is pretty simple, right? If there is an emergency, such as a fire on board, you will need to get off the bus quickly. But think about this. Which door would you use to get out? What if the fire is at the front of the bus? What if it were at the back? What if the bus is packed full of kids? There are a lot of things to think about during a school bus evacuation. So we would like you to keep this in mind while you are watching this video. Think of all the scenarios that could possibly take place. One other thing, use your common sense and figure out the smartest and most efficient way to get off the bus. We will cover different types of evacuations, order of evacuation, and much more. First, let's quickly cover some basics. Every school bus is equipped with items to help make the bus safer for the passengers who ride it. For instance, if a student gets a bloody nose, the driver has the items necessary to protect themselves as well as assist the student with the bloody nose. One of the onboard items you should know about is the first aid kit. First aid kits are typically stored in front of the bus near the driver's compartment. They are usually placed in an area of the bus to make them easily accessible in the case of an emergency. Inside the first aid kit, there are bandages, gauze, gloves, and numerous other items that can be used for cuts, scrapes, and/or burns.
Well, that was a short one. And there's also items that, like a fire extinguisher and all, but the doors, you gotta understand, you gotta listen to this, because this is very important. These safety tips can help you out. The top door, that's the emergency door. The back door is the emergency. The side doors, which are the windows. So if you're riding a plane, you need to know these, because one day, if your bus has an accident and you don't know where to go, and you decide not to watch this episode, then that's you not spreading out common sense saying, I should have listened to the bus driver, I should have recognized the rules, I should have watched the Give Me a Break episode, I should have sat home and played Fortnite, I should have listened to the bus driver, I should have done this, I should have done that, etc. Whose fault is that? Your fault, because you decided to tune out and say to yourself, I'm not listening to this crap, I'm going to go text my friends. I'm going to go on TikTok. I'm going to take some selfies. That's you. And only you would decide not to do that. If you listen, you may learn something. That's common sense here. Because a lot of times, when people don't follow the emergency exits of the bus, it's like, I don't know what to do. Your friend in the back should have told you, well, you should have listened instead of just taking all selfies. They're smart listeners. Write it down so that way you remember next time. If you write it down, you will remember. You will remember well. So if I were, because when school year starts next week, because we're like 3 days left into this, like 3 to 4 days left into the next school year, to the first day of school. And if I were you parents out there, I'd practice every day. I'd practice so that we all can know. I wanted a school shooter. They'd have these school shooting drills, which is simply like lockdown. But I'm not gonna get all too mumbo jumbo on you. So basically, if there's a school shooter out there, you need to lock the doors, and if the police officer's there, you gotta find some help. Then just do what the officer says. That's what saved the kids in Oxford. All the doors were barricaded. The police had help. And that's what also happened in Uvalde during that time. So it's basic analogy here that tells you that I need to listen. That when the fire, so here's the active shooter training for those bus drivers.
Alright, have a good morning.
A school bus is equivalent to a mobile classroom, but don't forget, the bus's occupants are students. Having a concentrated amount of students in a moving vehicle makes it a potential target for unbalanced or dangerous individuals. All of us are aware of this danger, and unfortunately, the daily reminders from the media make it all too real. Unfortunately, active shooter incidents at educational locations are among the highest in the U.S. This is the reality we live with today. School bus drivers are tasked with transporting students safely to school and home. However, it will be necessary for drivers to learn how to prepare for the unthinkable, an attack on their school bus. During the course of this video, we are going to cover several scenarios to help bus drivers feel empowered when faced with such heinous incidents. These scenarios will give the most realistic examples possible, so drivers can determine what to do if faced with such a crisis. Keep in mind that it is not our intention to frighten you, but rather it's to provide you with the tools that can be applied during an active shooter situation. It will be our goal to provide many options that bus drivers can utilize when faced with an active shooter. By applying these preventable measures, you will be in a better position to protect the lives of the students you are transporting. There is no one-way answer when placed in an active shooter scenario. So remember to always follow your district's procedures and policies, as well as the laws that govern your state. With that being said, let's get started by going over how school bus drivers must prepare themselves for an active shooter incident.
You just keep on moving that bus and I won't put a bullet in you.
The bottom line for all school bus drivers is to safely get students to their destination. Safe operation of the bus ensures that students will get their education and arrive to school and home without incident. However, there is always the unseens and the what-ifs. And this is where the school bus drivers need to be mentally prepared for something other than safe driving practices. School bus drivers do not have the skills or training of law enforcement. Drivers are trained to inspect, drive the bus, and handle student behavior. Therefore, we are suggesting that you apply the skills that you, as a bus driver, already possess. This starts with a mental approach for dealing with a crisis situation. Law enforcement is trained to take down violent people. School bus drivers do not fit into this category. However, that is not to say that the bus driver should not employ preventative techniques when they are available and within the capabilities of the driver. A good school bus driver cherishes the relationship with the students they transport. In the event that a shooter incident may occur, you as a school bus driver must feel empowered to act and protect those students. The school bus driver is the only adult on the bus, and therefore it becomes your responsibility to take charge when a dangerous situation arises. Remember, students will look to the school bus driver for guidance.
Audio on the line?
So those are the active shooter drills when happens when you're on the bus. So that's basically it for school drills. So that's basically all we covered. We covered lockdown, fire drills, lockouts, active shooter drills. So next time you want to learn how to do a lockdown drill, here's what you do. Let's review. You sit on the floor of the corner, you put your head down like this, and you don't say a word. Because you're with all the people there at one corner. I mean, because the school and the police are like this. Now, when we return, there was also the idea of arming teachers. Something you may face next time on your first day back to school when you see a teacher carrying a pistol. Wasn't it a great idea to start arming teachers back then after these shootings? Stay with us. What can be done to prevent school shootings? Some kids will feel safe if teachers arm themselves. We showed this clip dozens of times on this broadcast, and since the purpose of this back to school month, I thought it'd be a great idea to show it to you again just for common sense purposes. Because a lot of kids don't understand, like, oh, you're asking a teacher to put a pistol over an AK-47.
Shooting in South Florida. 17 people shot to death. What can be done about school shootings? Some say kids will be safer if some teachers carry guns. President Trump said that.
We need to let people know, you come into our schools, you're gonna be dead.
Trump was mocked for suggesting teachers have guns.
Arming teacher is completely insane.
It's a terrible idea.
A terrible idea. But Trump's critics probably don't even know that many teachers have brought guns to school for years. In Texas, teachers carry in about 200 schools. This high school advertises that.
I can see that sign out on the highway. Boy, it's a great, man.
Parents we interviewed here like the policy.
It's a good idea.
I think we need it.
It makes me feel safer.
I love the King gun policy.
Superintendent Ricky Stevens created it, saying if there's trouble, teachers want to go defend the kids.
We know our staff and our teachers are going to go. Do we want them to go with a pencil or go with a pistol?
Everybody's against it.
This Florida student says teachers carrying guns is a terrible idea.
You're asking a teacher to fight an assault rifle with a handgun. That seems like a pretty unfair fight to me.
The teachers have handguns against somebody with a big gun. That's not much.
It's not much, but it's better than nothing. If you go there with nothing, you have no chance of stopping anything.
The police come. They see your teacher with a gun. How do you keep them from shooting her?
We train a lot with our local law enforcement. So that helps us because we want them to at least know we're there and at least recognize us. If they happen to get shot while they're stopping a tragedy, all of our guardians had said, you know, that's just the price of being a guardian.
His teachers saw how during the Florida school shooting, the security guard waited outside.
It made me mad.
It's a reason she's glad she can carry her gun at school.
You have to have a fighting chance if something should happen at our school.
We hid her identity because she and the school don't want a potential attacker to know which teachers are armed.
Are you carrying now?
Of course.
Many people say armed teachers create new dangers.
Teacher accidentally fired a gun in his classroom.
At this California school, a teacher mistakenly shot at the ceiling. One student was slightly hurt by falling debris. But that's the only incident we could find where a student was injured.
Took a rifle to his...
On the other hand, armed teachers have stopped school shootings.
16-year-old Luke Woodham has been arrested.
When this student killed two classmates, an assistant principal with a gun held the killer at gunpoint until police arrived. We don't know how often armed teachers deter shootings. The media can't cover crimes that never happened. The media also distort what President Trump proposed.
Donald Trump said teachers should have guns. Teachers should not be required to protect and serve and to teach.
Required? No teacher's required to carry. It's voluntary. Those who want to bring their guns to school can. Here's another distortion.
I really do not support the idea of arming teachers.
Arming teachers. Arming teachers? A new federal program? That's not what the president proposed. Lots of teachers already have guns. All the school has to do is allow some to bring their guns to school. At the Keene School District, however, Superintendent Stevens did create a new government program.
The school purchases a gun, and then we give them and register them to our teacher.
That way, he says, he can make sure all teachers have training on the same type of gun. Finally, as we ponder the best way to keep students safe, we should address the scariest myth.
The epidemic of shootings.
Epidemic of school shootings.
Despite what the media say, there is no epidemic of school shootings. No sharp increase. School shootings kill far fewer kids than driving, suicide, drowning, even suffocating. Why now? School shootings are not in a big uptick.
Exactly right. But we prepare for them because if even one shooting happens, it's more than we would want.
You're 10 times as likely to die suffocating.
Right.
I mean, you can't protect against all these things.
No, but we do train our kids in school how to not suffocate and how not to drown.
Certainly, Stevens' armed teacher program is cheaper than what my town does. New York City spends hundreds of millions of dollars stationing police officers in and around schools. Of course, here and in most blue states, suggesting that some teachers carry weapons horrifies people.
They don't understand that a responsible, trained teacher with a firearm is better than having a teacher with nothing. Texas will definitely probably be leading the way when it comes to protecting our kids with weapons, and that New York would choose to go a radically different way.
I'm glad that we live in a country where the local people can decide what goes on in their school district and not a bunch of people in New York City.
It's good that America has 50 states. That allows experiments. Teachers in New York City may fear guns, but teachers in Texas can serve and protect.
And there's also the fact here. If you remember, Florida has a open carry law. You can open carry now. So we have Texas and Florida who have open carry laws. Here in Texas, you feel free to open carry. You can't get arrested. I mean, you may feel free to carry a taser, but just if you're gonna carry a gun with you when you're going on vacation, just remember this. Research the laws in Kansas or whatever state you live in. That way you know why you can't bring that. And somebody from the Young Turks has an argument for Army teachers.
I just don't understand the disconnect in Republican logic when it comes to the whole arming teachers solution. In their minds, a solution. In my mind, absolute insanity. So, do you trust teachers or not? Because when it comes to curriculum, they don't trust teachers at all. They think teachers are groomers. They think teachers can't be trusted. They think teachers need to be super involved in developing curriculum, even though they're not experts on education. And then on the other hand, when it comes to gun violence, we should arm our teachers. So you want to arm who you think are alleged groomers to protect your kids. Okay. I just don't.
I kind of like and what about me? Do I defend this? I don't defend what people say. I mean, I'm supportive of schools having Army teacher programs. I mean, you may sit there and say, well, you shouldn't be saying that because I don't want to see my teacher carry a pistol to go find an AK-47. It doesn't matter. What matters is we got to keep our schools safe from stuff that's happening, and we also have to train our teachers and staff to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Because if it does, it's a life lesson to learn. And even other states may want to open carry laws. That way, they won't have another school shooter, and teachers can be armed. I'm not against it. I'm with the teachers. There's some teachers that I know who never open carried. Who never open carried here in the Bluff. That was all before. But if I went to the Flower Bluff School Board and I asked them, we need to start open carrying, a lot of people will be having back saying, you know what, that's a great idea. Say, yeah, you know what, that's a great idea. let's have Loud Love teachers arm themselves, and there won't be a school shooting. I mean, we're like, but we never had a school shooting. Precisely. But it's better to be prepared beforehand before a shooting occurs. That way, when a school shooting happens, all the teachers can be prepped beforehand. And let me tell you this, at Mickey D's, we prep everything for our customers. They want it fresh, we give it to them fresh. So, that's why I wanted to come. That's why I wanted to talk about, because that's basically what I want to talk about for these drills, because it's better to be prepared than to do nothing about it. All right. When we come back, Rob's take on why high school sucks and middle school. It's just basically like, I don't like it. Stay with us. Do you ever get the feeling that when you go to high school you feel like it sucks? Well, let me tell you, I went to high school. I loved high school. As a matter of fact, it was a joke about it. Your mom was so stupid she thought high school was a school for drug addicts. Yep, funny right there. But here's Rob's take. It's his opinion, so here's Rob why he thinks high school sucks, in his own opinion.
What's up, you wild sloths? I'm Rob, and today's rant topic is a popular request by all of you guys, which is a rant on high school and why it sucks. Like, seriously, where do I begin? If you're going to high school, you automatically have no life. No, I'm kidding. We all have to go through it. First off, I'll say this. If you dropped out of high school, as in you failed, you made it to the non-grad list or whatever, you are fucking stupid. You literally have to put in effort to fail in high school. That's like getting straight D's and F's in all your classes. How is that possible? You take easy shit classes like sociology, common sense, electives. There are many things in high school you'll notice that just kind of stick out. It's in every high school. The people. You have your basic, regular, neutral so-and-sos walking around doing their own thing, you know, kind of like those neutral people that don't really stick out too much. They're their own, like, type of group or clique. Then you got those popular kids who always hang out in one section, like where everyone else can see them, or like a big crowd of people who apparently have so many friends because they're so popular and shit, but truthfully, they're all tools. Like, you know, they all lie to each other and start up drama and crap like that, but you see them all together, like all the blondes and like the pretty girls. If you're pretty in high school, like if you stand out beautiful in high school, you're automatically popular. You go to all the parties, know all the people, blah, 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 and you're just like, oh my fucking god, like, you know, have to be the center of attention in like everything you do. Then you have all those tools that follow like all those popular girls, like all those pretty girls. You have all of them just like chasing their fucking dicks everywhere. They all wear the same things too. You got the guys always wearing like those basketball shorts or like a lanyard hanging out of it, and like their socks pulled up, wearing some Vans, Harvard or football team, this stupid like snapback hats, like walking around. Always walk around talking about football. Oh, football, dog! Fuck, homie, let's score a touchdown. Yeah, it's not really that. It's just they think they're the shit just because they're their football team, but you know, honestly, when you get out of high school, they don't matter at all. Then you got the choir kids. Nothing really much said to them except they just hang out with other choir kids. You got all those foreign Korean Japanese kids wondering why high school is so easy for them. You got the kids that play like Yu-Gi-Oh! And card games together. You've got the school sluts in one corner, and you got all your metalheads in like another corner. All the environment kids around lunchtime, they're sitting underneath the trees like reading books. You got the complete opposite of that with all those tools and bros. Every lunchtime just like rev their truck past school and stuff. You got like those band or after school program activity kids that walk around like always carrying something. Then you got the school spirit kids. Oh my god, yeah, so high school, we rock! Putting way too much effort for something they're gonna leave. You got that rare pregnant girl that everyone knows about because she leaves school. The one major thing I fucking despise school, especially zero periods, is waking up in the morning. Let me sleep! If school started at 9 and then maybe like at 4 or something, I'll be happy. Waking up early morning, going to like your first period when you have math class, it's impossible. There are teachers that are like really cool, really straightforward, really cool with you, helping you out, like whatever. Then there's teachers like semi-cool. Then there's teachers butthurt as shit. First day of class, this teacher's fucking butthurt. Then there's teachers that like absolutely have no clue what they're doing. Okay, class, you read the chapter, you can see here it says, and alright, work quietly. And then there's that teacher that you want to fuck. You want to put it in their puss. There's always that one really slow kid in class, or there's always that dumb blonde, where the teacher will be like, okay, class, I'm not obviously your teacher, but I'm subbing for next week. Your teacher's going to be back next Monday. Wait. So, like, are you a permanent teacher? And the teacher somehow, answers it legitimately. Or if I was a teacher, someone asked me, I'd be like, you're fucking retarded? I just said it. Someone else literally would ask the same question. So, what are you gonna, I don't get it. So, you've got that one moment. I know this has happened to all of you guys in some school year, but it's like history class or whatever. That one ultimate stupidest thing you've ever heard throughout your entire years of high school. Wait, so the United States is on the world map? I thought we were the map, and every other place was in the has to happen, at least once. I think also the number one most annoying thing are those girls who think their conversations are so important that the entire class should hear. You would just be sitting there, bored out of your mind, waiting for the clock to tick, and it's just, oh my fucking god. And then my mom totally freaked out. Then my boyfriend came over, and we were fucking, and she opened the door, and I was like, what the fuck? There was chocolate pudding fucking everywhere.
Drinking last night. And then Monday we have to wake up for school. What the fuck is this?
We get it, no one likes school, but they're complaining it's a fucking military academy for the Nazi approval system. It makes absolutely no fucking sense how much these girls complain. Oh my god, so I was fucking drinking and smoking and fucking, oh my god, my life's so hard. My mom, the car she gave me, she took away and blah blah. Holy fuck, you fucking anorexic elephant, suck my cock, I didn't want to hear it anymore. Professor Schmeisenkrachstrutz, I did my homework. But I was driving yesterday, and I was kind of buzzed. And I hit a deer and maybe a kid, but they were already in the air when I hit them. Anyway, I didn't get a chance to do the essay. Is he really trying to say that to the teacher? I shoved my dildo in my printer to try and get it to work, and it jammed, so my printer didn't work. And people say there's no sleeping in class. Literally, our bodies can't help it. It's not like we're lazy. Our bodies can't help it. I fall dead asleep throughout the entire period. And honestly, the information that I missed wasn't important enough, because either the teacher would take 50 minutes explaining one thing, or 30 minutes trying to answer 2 stupid questions that he got. Honestly, you wake up in the morning, show up late, stare at girls with booty shorts, fall asleep, do some work in class, you're done with high school. That's as real as it gets. Thank you guys for requesting me this topic. Share it to support our channel. You guys are part of this channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you haven't watched a specific video, I'll link below, because I'm also doing a charity donation at the end of this video. Love you all, and stay tuned for my next upcoming videos.
Alright. It may not suck, but what about the elementary school? Yeah, we'll talk about that when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. Speaking of back, Rob's back to talk about elementary school. I watched this years ago, and my God, it was fun. I loved elementary school. I've had some teachers that I know in elementary school. I'm not going to bash on them. I loved elementary school. Let's take a look at this one, and then we're going to wrap it up. Take a look.
Oh, you wild meerkats. Today's rant is going to be about something we probably already passed, but elementary school sucks. It sucked. It was stupid, especially when you look back at it. I don't know about you guys, but my elementary school made us line up for everything. Oh, we're gonna go outside? Line up. We're gonna go drink water? Line up. You wanna go take a pee-pee? You gotta stand in a straight line first. What is this, Hitler's regime? I'm trying to think what could have that possibly taught us in the future? or maybe, you know, growing up to be in the army or something, where do you ever stand in line besides waiting for frickin' McDonald's? Don't get me started with the cafeteria food. That shit was so gross. Starving children in Cambodia wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And I remember when you misbehaved or something, the teacher had to always settle down the class before you went and lined up for lunch, which sucked because, first of all, the food wasn't great anyway. There were those freaking little rectangular pizzas you get, like, in the homeless shelters. Actually, the homeless shelters probably had better food. Here and there, my elementary school had these fresh baked cookies. Those were literally the one thing I always looked forward to because they were delicious. But if you lined up too late, or you were the last class to go out in front of the cafeteria, they always sold out, and no cookies for Rob. I don't understand why they would even make you line up for food. I feel like that SpongeBob episode, food, water, atmosphere. Then you had all those kids who didn't really feel like playing Foursquare. You know, who plays Foursquare? What do you just, oh, look at me, throw the ball in between the lines. What the hell is Foursquare? Or tetherball, or, you know, all that nonsense. Yeah, thanks, Mrs. Flowers. You assigned our class today in recess to play tetherball with no ball. There's a string on a pole. What do I look like to you? A fish? Or you get stuck playing with the kid who's always winning at handball? Some fat guy McTub-Tub with secretions coming out of his nose, like freaking, he always seems like he's drooling. Because then you had me and my friends, or a lot of other people who actually brought their Pokemon cards to play. You know, we sat down on the bench or sat down at a table and we were playing Pokemon. Until that one whack job teacher or principal walking around the campus is like, you guys are supposed to be physically active. You can't play Pokemon cards. If I see them, I'll take them away. And they actually did take them away and put it in their office where you have to go and spend like detention at to get. And the other thing that seemed like the biggest waste of time, while you learned a few things here and there in class, they always assign that one big project. You know what I'm talking about? The one that where you have to go out and build something, like the mission projects or whatever it was. I think to myself now, what was the point of actually building it? You know, like coloring the grass, putting little rocks, wasting money on crafts and animals and trees just to plot around and paint the thing, and it's like, oh look, I spent like a freaking week with my family helping me on this crap, and then I turn it in and everyone gets an A anyway. You could be one of those freaking like dumb kids who made one out of popsicles and stuck them together with boogers, and the teacher will still give you a passing grade. And what's the deal with everybody always having to sing? Was there a choir? Was I in choir, or did everyone have to sing? You know, the Christmas thing or holiday performances. We were sailing along on Moonlight Bay. Some god-awful kids who can't sing at all, just yelling. Didn't you love the presentations of puberty? Oh, you're gonna start growing breasts and start sweating. Here's a pack of deodorant. And the worst part of elementary school was actually having like a nice event going on, a basketball game or something during recess, so you get an extra long recess or whatever, and then I end up getting benched. Of course Rob was benched. What am I? What do you think I am? Some kid who yells funny jokes in class out loud? I'm not loud. When am I loud? You say one joke, literally one joke, where the whole class laughs, and sometimes the teachers have chuckled, and they go, you know, but because you interrupted the class, Robert, you're gonna be benched. And here I am, sitting there on my patoot, watching all my friends have fun, and I'm literally just sitting there going, yep, my life's miserable. Elementary school, glad that's done.
Glad I passed that on to do that again, but it's great to look back on. I was in elementary school back in 2006, 2007, 3rd and 4th grade. I'm glad I had some great teachers. I'm not naming names, but they were great. Y'all know who you are. You were the best. The best of the best. Now we're going to talk about middle school, why it sucked back then. I mean, I remember junior high and where you had to wear a uniform and all, but we're going to save that. We're going to save that for a Flashback Friday. I'm going to play you a sneak peek, but because we're out of time here, I'm going to play you I'm going to give you a sneak preview. Actually,
That's why
we're not going to have time for that, but here's a sneak preview.
I hated middle school. High school was the best. Senior year was amazing. Middle school sucked gorilla balls. Middle school for me had teachers I never liked. It was classrooms full of retards. There were still plenty of moments and plenty of times where we had to line up, single file, orderly lines just to fucking go somewhere. Am I 5 years old? Am I stupid? Everybody was too busy trying to discover their freaking personalities. They were lost within themselves. That's where he determined, do I want to be the douchebag, toolish kid in high school? Or should I be the valley girl slut? This is all determined in the middle school process.
That's next time. That's Game Break for now. Join all of us at YouTube next time for another edition of Give Me a Break. Have a good night.